Good evening all. So we have come back with a very interesting topic about cybersecurity, the security of our data and spying in the period between 2018 and 2022. And why I say between the period 2018 and 2022 is about the technological outlook in the future, how our data is protected, how our data is spread, who has control over our data, and what they can use and utilize our data for. So let's start talking about it. So data is all over the internet these days. Because of the internet and because of connectivity and because of social media, people has managed to know information much faster than others. I remember the time that I was waiting until 8 p.m. to hear the daily news. Now you can access the news through websites 24 hours anytime you want. So the access to media has changed. Before, you need to go home and maybe open your laptop to get access to your email. These days you can access your mail, and you can access the newspaper, and you can access different media using your mobile phone. Now the information, okay, what kind of information has been resulted in that? So people thought they can use their smartphone, they can use their laptops, and they can write anything on their laptops, and they can use these devices for anything they want, and nothing would happen. And the reality actually has started coming through different stages. The first stage was through WikiLeaks and Julian Assange, who actually managed to get a group of documents through someone working for a security agency. And this security, he had access to a number of documents, and he has given these documents to Julian Assange, who has managed to publish part of them in a very famous newspapers. And it was about the invasion of Iraq. It's about different problems across the globe. And that was the first breach and the first leakage of data and information. And from these documents, we have known that the government of the different governments across the globe, they might be saying something and doing something else. And there are a lot of information that is hidden from people. And people actually, they had this feeling all over their life. But I think there was some kind of evidence, established evidence, that there are things that are being said and done behind back doors that are not related to people's interest somehow. That is being said, things has moved forward. Then we heard about Edward Snowden and the prison program, and that was a major thing, because what we have known is that the United States have access to every microphone, every camera on all devices, from laptops to phones, and they can anytime listen to any conversation you have, and they can actually take footages and videos of anything you do anywhere in the world. So people started panicking, especially girls. So they started putting a plaster on the camera of their laptops, because they are worried that someone will shoot them naked and so on. And there is a very, the movie about Edward Snowden reflects how he was telling his wife or his girlfriend to stop using the laptop camera and so on, or to put a plaster on that. Things has moved forward, and the spread of social media and all of this media. So now let me tell you about the first part. The first part is about data collection. So spying is always about data collection. It's about how much information I can get about the other person. And with this, I think the United States has established itself and established many tools that it can gather a lot of information about people, using their mobile phone, using their laptops, using their documents, using their maybe designs, and using the information they tell about themselves. So they say this is the information that we know we gather, and we can always improve our data. But then they have faced a problem in terms of analysis. They say, okay, we need to analyze this data. This is a huge amount of data. We need to ask simple question like, is this person friendly? Is this person aggressive? What do we actually know about this person? So they started to thinking about, okay, this is a lot of information. We need something more useful for us. We need to classify people based on their political interest. We need to classify people based on how friendly they are towards the United States. We need to classify people based on their plans, and so on. So they move to the knowledge and the knowledge theme, and some data they are very good at analyzing, which is data like text. Now there is a superior capability in analyzing text, and I think if you ask a machine if it's read maybe your Facebook profile or Facebook statuses and a few documents and so on, and ask if does this person has negative views of the United States, or does this person have positive views about the United States? And this kind of question, I think, can be they can classify people quite easily. Now, as I said before, there is some data that is still very hard to analyze, and the human brain is better in terms of analysis, which is like videos, which is like footages and photos. Some photos are can be easily analyzed, another can't, especially the ones that can coming with a very high meaning, and maybe they mean something, and sometimes the text means something and it means something else. So they say we need to encourage people to talk more about themselves. So how we can create an ecosystem that can help people spread continuous information about them. So they created the different social media channels, from Facebook to Snapchat to all of these. Let's let people actually compete with each other to become famous. Let's do this. And it's how the world is. Yani you can't actually you can't stop the trend, so you have to catch up with the trend. And here they started moving from data collection and analysis to direction. So how I can subject this person to amount of information and data that can control his behavior. And we have seen this with a few cases. We have seen this with the Russian meddling of the United States election. Also, it's not proof, but we understand that maybe there is something that has happened there. We know that there is a company called Cambridge Analytica that has managed to get some data from Facebook, and this is how it all happens. It will always happen through a third party or something. It will never happen through the established companies. That period. So it will never happen. It will never happen and tell you that the CIA has been doing this and this and this. It will always be some kind of third party or fourth party or fifth party who has been doing something. They will never put themselves in a position where they subject themselves to the information directly. And with this direction, I think people has reached a very strong capability by spreading particular video and spreading a story and trying to play on the human conscious. However, they are still far, and by far I mean still they will start continuously to develop much stronger systems to achieve the particular behavior they want. So and this is actually used in marketing. So they say, what if I subjected this person to a group of information? Would this change his buying decision? So this is not something that actually only intelligence agency do, but actually actual people, the buying decision. So they say, what if we give him red? What if we change the shape? What if we have actually tell him that the price is 8.5 instead of 9? Would this influence his buying decision? And based on this, these people will start thinking and thinking and thinking in terms until they achieve to direct the person into the decisions they would like to see. And the third one is about, we talked about collecting data analysis, and the third one is about guidance and targeting. And I think the fourth capability is about I think which would be is elimination. So can I actually eliminate this person completely through information? And by that is about, can I subject this person completely to shock him and eliminate his action, eliminate his contribution fully? And this is actually an old way of doing, of putting down morale and helping, let me say, if you are an army fighting and you have been subjected to a lot of negative news and a lot of negative information, maybe you say, no, I would not fight anymore, we'll lose this war anyway. So the first one is about collecting information and analysis, and there are still more capabilities to be done in video and pictures. The second one is about targeting, and there are still work needed about personal profiling and so on. And the third one is about elimination. Can I really just eliminate these people completely? So it's better not to let them engage, but it's better just to eliminate them and to paralyze their movement. So this is actually the three where I see the cybersecurity is going. So how you protect yourself? Actually, you can't protect yourself except with conscious, with information, with have a more developed mind, with have because people continue learning, and the more information you learn, and the more you learn about this, the more resistant you are to information. The wiser you are. So I think, because for some countries they have lower capability in terms of cybersecurity and in terms of information technology, and these countries are, let me say, the top countries in the world are USA, China, Russia, United Kingdom, and Israel, and we have two, Iran and North Korea, coming to the list. But I think North Korea and Iran are very strong in terms of collecting data and hacking. Israel is good in terms of collecting data. I'm not sure about propaganda. And China also, I'm not sure about propaganda, but they have superior capabilities in terms of cutting information. Russia and the USA, definitely they have some capabilities in terms of guidance, targeting, and this is what we have seen in chatbots, and this is Russian middling and so on, or what is being said as a Russian middling. So it's very important that you teach your people compulsory information about how this cyber war can affect us, and how it can affect, how it can play on our weaknesses, and how can it weaken our strengths. And if you have done this, at least you build some first level of resistance against this spread of information. Because we tried, when some countries tried to ban YouTube and to ban Facebook and they tried to do it. So in terms of co-op and like big political situation, they shut down the internet. We have seen this in Iran, we have seen this in Turkey and so on. But in many cases, it does not work, and people, they feel that you are preventing them from useful information. They don't get the feeling that you are preventing them from negative information. They will always think you are preventing them from access to the truth. So it's about education. It's about building this capability and showing examples where such a propaganda has worked, and this should be a compulsory course for people to build this resistance. Now, there are, of course, superior technologies in terms of collecting information, and this is really through satellite and images, and we can see a superior technology coming from the United States and Russia, and through drones and collecting information through drones, cameras, and so on. And this kind of technology, actually, in many cases, it does not exist in the same level as we are, and it's much harder even than the ones related to social media and to let me say, and to just making videos and so on, and just propaganda. These require that you really fly a satellite and taking photos of different people movement, and in many cases it's very hard to hide from these. You need actually to build some kind of defense by working underground, or maybe sometimes doing some movements that are not really intending to show what you are planning to do. So it's very hard to actually mitigate such a collection information. That's my quick intake about cybersecurity and information and spying and how people do it. Of course, the human part is always there, but it's coming now in a much less significance as before. So collecting people through interacting with people and talking to them, understanding them, and becoming close to them is important. But I think it's taking a little bit a backward step in comparison with the new ways of collecting information, because it's very, very hard. So in terms of guidance, so collecting information is something, but guidance is very hard to do it with humans. So can I really insert number of spies to guide a particular people or a particular leaders or a particular group. And I think it's very hard that you measure the impact that you want to create as much as you can measure it with different medias. So that's my talk on things, and I wish that it was a very good conversation, that you enjoyed. I hope that it was helpful and informative, and that was my talk. Have a great evening, and see you tomorrow. Salam.